speak to me when I'm writing.
Yeah.
You know, because when you want people to know you, you want them to know you about the things that are personal to you.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing you consider. Second thing you consider is who is going to read? In what language do they speak? In what language do you write?
Yeah.
So I am a Musoga, but right now I mostly write in English language.
Yeah.
So when I'm putting my books together, I know that I am targeting English language readers. Where do I find them? How do I find them? How do I market to them?
Yeah.
So you think about, for me, most importantly, a book, even a poetry book, it is a storybook. Any book you put together, why they call that book a page turner is because whatever you put on that page is going to encourage that person to open the other page, to go deeper and deeper. So you have to be careful on what you put on the first page, the second page, the third, the fourth, because it must be connected from the first cover to the next cover.
Eddie, thank you very much. Just before you end the show, can you please ask Peter, when did he first publish his first book and how old were you?
No, I first published when I was, actually, I first published when I was 29. Yeah. My first book, the headline that morning.
Yes.
It was the first book myself published. But before that, my friends in the Lantern Meet had published. I'm a late bloomer.
Daniel
Nuamanya.
Yes, Daniel Mutembesa.
Yes, yes, wonderful. Yes. That generation.
Yes. I have been around that circle.
Yes, surprised. I'm surprised. So our first book was in 2012.
Yeah.
And by that time, I was already out of campus.
Yes.
It was called Broken Voices of the Revolution.
Yes.
Now, the first book I worked on with my own hands was in 2013. It was for my students at Nabisunsa Girls School. They were in S4, and we published for them a book.
Okay. And then I have a last question here, which is coming and saying that, what do you like to do when you are not writing, Peter?
When I'm not writing, what do I like to do?
Yes.
What I like to do? Anyway,
we know you're already not practicing law when you're not writing.
No. When I'm not writing, I am reading. If I'm not reading, I am watching. I am blessed to be a publisher. Okay. So either I'm reading other people's works, or I am scouting for talent. So I'm going through social media looking for writers to publish. My work is, honestly speaking, I am a writer. I do most 99% of my life. I'm either writing or reading.
Yes, and as we hasten to the close, before we take the next steps of question about being on stage and performing on stage, Peter, what does what was one of the most surprising thing that you learned in creating your books, or creating books for others, or writing books for others? What's the surprising thing that you can talk about as a publisher, as a writer, as a poet? Yes,
those ones are many.
Remember, we are talking about defining and distinguishing.
I think
the poet, the prose, and the drama in it.
I think there are quite a number of surprising things.
Yes.
One is, don't ever expect your friends to support you.
Yes.
I think the biggest mistake you can ever make as a writer is to listen to people tell you, hey, you publish, we shall buy. Me, I'll buy 100 books.
Yes.
Me, I'll buy 10.
Yes.
And then you bring the book, and then that's when they remember, I have bills to pay. I think for me, the biggest lesson I have learned in publishing is ultimately, if you want to make this a career, and you want it to be a success, avoid marketing to friends and family.
Okay.
Because you first and foremost will avoid disappointment, and that disappointment that brings disillusionment.
Yes, yes.
So when you're target strangers. We see how you go to a show and you don't expect to see only family and friends.
Yeah.
The people that turn up are the people that matter.
Yeah.
So for me, because all over time I've been producing books and wanting my friends, but your friends are your friends not because your friends like you because of you, not because you are a writer. So when you try to force your passion on them, it might even distance them. I have siblings who have never read my books. And we meet every day, but reading is not their thing. So if I become emotional and I'm like, yo, Enoch, you're my kid bro, you're not even buying my book, then I'm actually killing off a market and giving off a wrong vibe.
Yeah.
But if I target the reader, who is a stranger, but that person who loves reading, then that person is always even going to help me grow my business, because they're going to market me to other readers. Yeah. So I learned that very fast. Yes. Avoid the obvious. Avoid thinking that your friends will support you, your family will support. They love you as you, not because of you. In fact, they don't even understand your art things. So look for the people that art. And for me, by the way, this is very important, because most of us get frustrated when we don't see our friends supporting our hustle. It is not that they don't want to support us. These things are not for them. They also have their own passions. Yes. So I learned that. Secondly,
third, actually.
Money. I want to talk about money.
Yes, third is the money, yes.
Whether you like it or not, you will not escape the question of resources. Yeah. And you must have answers.
And you can't produce all these things without resources.
You must have, no, God is, look, unless you're going to wait for manna and quail to drop from heaven, but you must provide the answer to that. No one else is going to. Yeah. Don't think that there is someone with a basket of money waiting to just dish it to you. So you have to lobby. You have to know who to talk to in the industry. You have to know why it's important to start companies, why it's important to, to have a tax identification number, why it is important for you to know where to get the Uganda registration services, the Euro holograms. You need to know the business. You need to know the industry, so that way you can know who to go to when you need that particular kind of help. Without that, you'll keep on writing in the dark, and that's why your writing will stay.
Talking of that, Peter, we are coming to that part of the show that is really very interesting, and I love what you have said, that the three things I picked from you. Number one, you must love what you're doing. Number two, you must not force your friends to love what you're doing. Target those who you know are going to buy. Know your readers. Yes. And if you know that these are the readers, these readers, when they will pick and give it to another reader, and they will recommend, and that will be number three. You talk about money being key. You are not going to write these things for no money, and if you don't have the money, you cannot produce this. And if it is not sellable, then your friends won't buy it, however good you are. Because Sylvester told us here, look into your phone numbers. We had Sylvester Kabombo here last week, and he talks about if you look into your phone book and you don't find 50 people who can buy your ticket to come to the concert, then you are expecting the festival people to bring you in or the promoter to bring you in, yet you yourself can't have 100 people. Then you need to go and delete your phone book or stopped. If not, go back and start all over again and make sure you create that from there. That's a big lesson we're picking from there. It's all about resources, because the artists have struggled and have failed. Peter, as we close the show, let's talk about your first time on stage in Kampala. You have been working with Bayimba and doing some stuff with Bayimba and training with Bayimba. We talk about the schools. But let's talk about what opportunity did Bayimba actually present to you. And when we talk about Bayimba as the foundation, and you said the first time you performed there, what was the experience like? Take us through, and what have you been doing to try and leave your legacy in that space?
Bayimba changed my life. Literally, it changed my life. And Bayimba, I'd always known about Bayimba for a while, and Bayimba had known about me as well. I was part of a poetry group called the Lantern Meet of Poets, and so between 2010 and 2014, Bayimba used to feature us at the various festivals. In 2014, I went solo, and I started, and I was still at Nabisusa at the time, and wanted to do a poetry festival. And I reached out to Bayimba for help. And Bayimba told me, Peter, one day we shall help you. Maybe you're not in the position to do so. Then in 2016, I'd started Kitara Nation. And this is after I spoke directly to Faizo Chiwewa. I was young then. I was just from law school. I wanted to figure out this thing. And he tells me, Peter, you know what? If you want to figure this industry, we need structures. As poets, you need to create organization. You need to create structures which can also other organizations can interact with. So my friends and I started Kitara Nation. And through Kitara Nation, Baimba managed to link us to Africalia, and that's how we got our first grant that we used between 2017, actually up to 2020 to 2021, to promote poetry programs in schools. And then between that time, between 2016 and 2021 also, we had an opportunity to present, to make theatre poetry productions at the various Baimba Festival editions. So it was not even no longer just one call. Now it was contractual. Every year, Kitara Nation had to create a theatre poetry product to be showcased at the Baimba Festival. And
this is what we're seeing here on stage.
Yes, and those are the young poets that we worked with from schools, and now they are at the festival. In fact, in one of the slides, you will see my mother on stage with us.
Wow.
Because we also said, no, it's not enough for us to just be working together. Let us invite our parents to come through as well. So for me, the first thing that Baimba, as I said, for me, as an artist individually, it helped me recognize the importance of structures, the importance of the importance of coming together as with young poets, for us to be able to create companies that will help us deal with other organizations. Secondly, Baimba gave us the platform to showcase our various talents.
So was this also still at Baimba?
Yes, that's still at Baimba. The poet with a cape is a poet we found from Busoga College, Muiri. And you can see there is a guitarist just behind him playing. So for us, we believe in song poetry, so merging music and poetry. And here he was we were doing a theater. This is actually Arrest the Poem. We were doing it at Lunkulu Festival. Next to him is Luz the poet. At the time, he had dropped out of school and he had nothing to do. And so he felt he wanted to be a poet, and he didn't have to go through the challenges some of us had to go through. And he came to join us. Next to him is Don Wanyama. Don Wanyama was the head prefect at Busoga College, Muiri, that year. And him with the gentleman with the cape at the back. They are the people who took school poetry to Busoga, after this project. Next to them, you don't see the face, the guy with the kanga. He's called Nifrod Odot. For him, he was a poet from Namilyango College. So after this project, he also went back to Namilyango College and started a poetry club. So this is how the project has been running. And now that is the legend himself, Daniel Omara. Daniel Omara started, he was at St. Mary's College, Chisubi at that time. He started over 5 poetry schools before he went to Russia to study medicine and also start a poetry club at his university there.
Wow.
So these are the young people that we've been working with, and through Baimba, we have been able to give them a platform to, first and foremost, see that they are talented, and that secondly, their words can give them monetary value, because some of them are now doing this as a career.
Wow. When you talk about this, what would be your best advice to a young poet out there as we close the show? What kind of platform do they look for? Where do we find you? How does one interact with you? And how do we connect with you at Kitara? What's the best advice you can give us today that when we go and think through it with this COVID-19 pandemic situation and endemic situation that we're in, and the confusion surrounding COVID-19, the uncertainty that lies ahead of us, how does an artist, a poet, stand out tomorrow to say, yes, I can continue to move with this hope and it is possible? And how do I get my work to the hands of people who may not know I exist? Like the same way you got to Faizo, how would we get there, Baimba?
Thank you. For me, the advice I would give to any young poet out there is the advice that I wish somebody gave me. In fact, someone gave me and I rejected it. Learn your craft. Professionalize early. Learn how to professionalize early. It doesn't matter whether you're 10 or 20 or 30 or 40. Learn how to be a professional writer. How do professionals behave? Who do they know? Secondly, invest in knowing the people in your industry. You might be shy. Some of us choose to write because we are shy. We don't know how to express ourselves. And now here I am telling you, go out there and be confident. Be deliberate about growing your reputation. and growing your profile as a writer. And that includes talking to people or reaching out to people or researching about people who will help you improve on your profile. But even that is something that you don't just wake up one day and know how to do. Go to the University of YouTube. Learn. Teach, self-educate yourself about marketing, about creative writing. Know the best-selling books out there right now. Know the trends. Know your industry. Know the people. Know the people, because knowledge is the only resource that you have right now that will make you that dream. Every time you put that pillow down and you imagine yourself being as even bigger than Shakespeare or being bigger than Okot Pabitek, that thing that's going to push you is in the ability to be able to let people see your talent, to be able to argue and demonstrate your talent to everyone else. And it won't come from you just writing and putting your poems back in your book and then hiding them in your pillow. You have to be at the forefront of your career.
Finally, Peter, 2021 is coming to a close. We're going into a new year. You've been collaborating with Bayimba Foundation. What plans do we have, in the days ahead, if any, and you want to share with us? I see a message here flashing from the messenger. Too many messages, over 500 on messenger. I can't read all the messages on messenger, but thank you very much, everybody. But this one saying that, how do I get into the program with Bayimba that Peter is talking about? He's a poet, he's a drummer himself. He says he's a drummer artist. I don't know what that means. He's an actor. But want to know, how do they get, and is there any program for them in days ahead? Could you share some more light as we close?
All right. If you're interested in publishing poetry, for example, you can reach us. You can reach out to Kitara Nation. We have a website, our social media spaces. It's all Kitara Nation. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our email is kitaranation.uganda@gmail.com. Reach out. Let's start a conversation. Yeah. Now, if you're interested in learning how to perform and how to write and how to perform, it's the same way. You can reach us. You can reach out to us on our various media platforms, and we shall be able to help you. Now, for those of you who have programs or projects that you want to run and you want to reach out to Bayimba, you can go through their social. The beauty about the social media these days is that it has made it easier, to access some people where previously, you had to write a letter or you had to write an email. These days, just a messenger message is enough to get you, through that door. Yes, and now for those ones who would want to know more about writing and maybe marketing books, publishing, come and we talk. Reach out to us. We have a number of programs that we are running for poets. We have Verse in Vac. We have the Kitara Nation Poets Poetry Program that we also run, where we train ourselves and we train young people in theater poetry. Next year, if all goes well, we also
this is next year, 2022.
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah.
We are bringing back the culture of poetry recitals, if the government allows us to have public performances again. So we are coming up with a weekly poetry show in Kampala, and anyone, as long as you love performing poetry, you can come up with your poem and perform. And again, if you have a manuscript and you want to publish, we are your guys. Just come and we talk.
Thank you very much, Peter, for coming to the show today. And first, I want to put a topic up there, and just to remind everyone, that we've been talking about defining and distinguishing poetry, prose, and drama in Uganda and across borders. When we say in Uganda and across border, locally here in Uganda, within the boundaries of Uganda, is it distinguished, defined? Is poetry clear? Do we see the prose when people perform? Do we understand what it means? That's what Peter has been sharing on the show today. And then, of course, we have been talking to Peter Kagai, who is the co-founder of Kitara Nation. Kitara Nation is one of the publishing house, and Peter himself is the publisher. He's a writer, he's a poet, he's a drummer, he's a theater writer. So if you have projects for him, please reach out to him. And we'd like to say thank you very much to everyone. We would like to say, Peter, that it's been really great, you know, having you on the program today. And I wanted to take this moment and close the show with a beautiful poem from Peter that closes. A piece from the Kitara Nation.
Wow. Freedom. Freedom is the music of voices stretched in our throats, reaching out to our hearts since our voices were once ghosts. Freedom is the music of voices remembering the ones we have lost in fright and in fear. Freedom is knowing in the morning you can open your heart's window and let the sun in. Freedom is knowing why a caged bird sings. Freedom. Freedom. That's me.
Thank you so much. We've come to the end of the show today. We want to say beautiful day. Stay in freedom, and please, freedom is opening up your heart very hard in the morning and let the sun in. Until then, Creative Industry Talk has come to an end. Edio Killer and Peter Kagai Ngobi signing out.
Wonders and circumstances, suspense pains, happiness with it, and he's with scandal. All is in silence, silence, a shell, shot, rattle. Leave the broom in the corner of the room. And when the shadow is behind your heels and the moon is full, go to the well and you will find a black stone. Pick it up. Pick it up. Move. And don't look back. Don't look back. Don't look back.
What can the men do, okay, to promote women's sports or basketball for that matter?
Yes, so today morning, someone told me, he made research, actually my brother, that these days the NBA actually facilitates the WNBA games to see that they're also somewhere. How about the NBL men starts doing something, not totally like investing in and all that, but it can be with the support system. It can be one very good thing, seeing that creating more opportunities for these ladies, putting up different games like, so as like women can be like seen or showing that these guys also like care. It can start with support, and then with time they can also like recommend whoever facilitates them to like partially have his thoughts somewhere on the women's team, so that like they can all go about like together in solidarity. I think that can work. I don't think it's something big. It can start with support and then financially with time.
now I'm going to talk to my people.
Yes.
Because I like what, as we are saying,
yes.
Vive la France, vive la francophonie. So, le leadership, c'est quoi? Le leadership, ce n'est pas le fait d'intimider les gens ou bien de dominer les gens, non. Le leadership, c'est le fait d'aider les gens à suivre le bon chemin. Parce qu'il y a des gens qui sont là, ils ne savent même pas par quel chemin emprunter. Il y a des gens qui ont même étudié, mais ils ne savent pas quel business ils doivent faire. Maintenant, l'idée, quand tu rencontres une personne pareille, tu vas l'orienter. Non, tu peux faire mieux que ce que tu fais. Non, la peur que tu as là ne va pas te tuer. Tu peux aller au-delà de la peur. L'idée, c'est comme j'avais donné l'exemple, allow me to go a little bit deeper. J'avais donné l'exemple ici en français, en anglais, pardon. La vidéo que j'avais vue à propos de chiens, il y avait un groupe de chiens au niveau du Canada et il n'y avait pas de l'eau. Pourquoi? Parce qu'il y avait, la neige, il n'y avait pas la place pour que tout le monde puisse boire de l'eau. Mais il y avait seulement une petite place pour le boss que je vais appeler. Et il ne voulait pas que les autres puissent venir boire de l'eau, comme il était boss. Il intimidait les gens. Mais il y avait un petit garçon, un petit chien qui était là à côté. Il a eu l'idée de briser la glace, là où il y avait pas, parce que l'eau était en dessous et il n'y avait pas moyen de boire. Mais le petit chien a brisé et tout le monde a vu ce qu'il faisait. Ils sont venus, ils ont commencé à briser et tous ont profité avec l'eau potable. Et le boss était laissé comme un vaurien. Personne ne lui faisait encore confiance parce qu'il n'était pas là pour les aider. Il était là simplement pour le faire peur, les intimider. Mais l'idée, c'est quelqu'un qui est là pour aider quelqu'un à avancer jusqu'à son destin, à sa vision. Parce que nous avons tous nos visions, mais c'est la peur des fois qui nous arrête. Merci mon ami.
Each equipment, you have to know the brew ratio. Actually, the brew ratio is I think the most important. Yeah. Brew ratio now most people may not understand. It is the ratio of water. The coffee powder to water and the yield. Water in this article will bring us into the yield. If I put 10 grams of coffee into my portafilter, how much of it am I exactly? So if you don't master the brew ratio, oh, everything is going to turn out a mess. Yeah. You understand? Even if you know that knowledge and you don't master the brew ratio. Yeah.
And one thing I would like to allude to or tell the other youth out there is we have to start creating our own solutions for our own problems. Otherwise, no one else is going to come from, Europe, America, or wherever to try and fix our own issues. Yeah. So I would like to urge other youth, the other creatives out there, hit the ground running, go in there, try and solve the problem that your neighbor has, the problem that your friends have. Yeah. And by creating those solutions, you can easily become the next big company of tomorrow, creating bigger solutions nationwide and on a continent level.
First and foremost, thank you very much for hosting me. I'm really, really humbled and I'm blessed to be here. Yeah, surely. Talking about basketball, personally, my journey of basketball started from far, very, very far. That was in high school and in a situation whereby we did not have enough exposure. We didn't have coaches. We didn't have the facilities like we do have them right now.
Yeah.
Although I'm saying this like there are so many years ago, there are not so many. That was about, I began knowing basketball in 2007. That was at KPC when I was in P7 vacation. That is end of 2007 actually, that KPC North. That's when I first touched the basketball. Then 2008 when I joined Namibyango in Senior 1. I saw people playing. Actually, the people whom I saw there playing and inspired me were Sally of, he played for Chambogo Warriors. Yeah. Do you remember him?
The left-handed.
Yes. And Omongin. Yeah. Omongin, last I saw him playing for City Oil. Those were the guys whom I found in Namibyango. I was in Senior 1. These guys were playing basketball at another level. And we would actually just go there to watch them. You know, for us by that time, they couldn't allow you to step on the basketball court that those guys are on, because they were senior 6s, you are a senior 1, you just, the best you can do is watch. Other than that, you don't step there. But nonetheless, that's where I started, beautifully, or I would say lucky for me, that when I was playing with those guys, once in a while when they could see me about midday 1, when the sun is very hot, when they are still resting and waiting to come. So when we would go to court and, you know, try a few shots here and there, and then they would come and they meet us, they would see what we are doing, and, you know, they would identify talent. I don't know if I can use that one. So, you know, one or another, they identified my talent. They realized I could at least throw in the ball. At any sport. They would just give it to me. Although I was weak, I didn't know how to bounce. They only told me one thing, throw in the ball. And throwing in the ball gave me an opportunity to play with them. When I was in Senior 1, Senior 2, but still, of course, I still had people who didn't believe in me, and it was challenging.
It's a CEO bench, so usually people want to assume that all CEOs are overlearned and stuff like that. So I will change the script this time around. I consider myself a certified hustler.
If I'm looking to know who you are you Ugandan? If yes, what are the values that define you as Ugandan?
That's the easiest question, I think, to answer. I am a typical Lao man from a Rute North, in a place called Ogur, and where I will be laid to rest is in a village called Agweng. So if you go there and you just say Otoa Tony, they won't really know me because my father is also Otoa Tony. You have to ask for Junior, and when you're asking, you have to ask with an accent. Junior Tikwene, where is Junior? And they will identify me. But I'm typically Ugandan, only Ugandan, from Lira. I pride myself from being from Lira. Earlier on, I was joking and saying I'm the coolest Lago south of Karuma. When you cross Karuma, there are so many. But when you're down the south after Karuma, I think I'm number one.
Wow. Well, now that you know Tonyo Toa is Ugandan, and of course, what are the values that define you as a Ugandan?
I think it's the love for country, love for nation. You know, truth be told, the country is in a lot of, it's a crisis. Leadership crisis, economic crisis, social crisis. There's so many mismatching areas. But at the end of the day, it's home. You know, you cannot run and abandon your home because of the issues in your home. I think that then creates an opportunity for you to do something to change what's happening and what you see as a crisis. So in terms of what I see as a value, or what I take out of that for me, I think is just the love for country, the need to serve country the best way I can. And I mean, I can't say I can change everything, but the little I can do to create a difference, I think, is more meaningful.
Wow. Mr. Tonyo Toa, growing up, what did you want to be in life? And what was the journey like for Mr. Toa?
Yeah, you know, my father is crazy. My father would call us and he would show me the compass. The idea was supposed to be a pilot. You know, the planes would fly over our house, and my father would be like, yeah, you're going to be a pilot. But of course, as you grow, you realize that you have so many things that really define you. I was never a sportsman. So I enjoyed a lot of debate and, you know, a lot of indoor activities. And that is, I think, what really drove me into some of the things that I do up to today. Public speaking, the love for debates and really a lot of intellectual discourse and all this stuff. But besides that, I think it's also the fact that I won't lie. I did not know what I wanted to be.
Welcome back from the break. This is the Creative Industry Talk. My name is Eddie Okila, and this particular show today we're talking to a young man from PG, the central part of Uganda, who is a fashion designer. Ras Kasozi, aka actually known as Charles Kasozi, is a Ugandan boy who is a fashion designer. And of course, you've had the first part of the show when we're talking to Kasozi about his background and how, you've been able to go across the world. Welcome back to the program, Kasozi. I know we talked about the background, and I like so far the story. It's very authentic, how it comes out, and how you got inspired into the fashion industry. The story with Wavamuno's daughter is quite a very amazing story right there, that somebody texts you and then you're able to realize, oh wait, I'm actually important. If Gloria Wavamuno is looking for it, means that there's certain value that she gives me which you are not giving to yourself. That in itself is a plus, going forward. Mr. Kasozi, would you tell us a little bit more about the journey from the local scene of fashion design here to the international stages that you've been able to go,
It's been quite challenging, but it takes self-confidence. Yes, from the start you need to know what you want. Like me, I've been an artist, like I'm born an artist, though not knowing which direction. I've tried all kind of art. Yes, and I always apply too much art in my fashion. Though as we grow, meet different people, and they tell you more about what you do. That's why I always say we need to be close to people who understand our vision. Yes, people who can support what we do. For example, for my first international platform, by then I was working with Babaluku, Bavubuka All Stars. Yes, I was part of it. Yes. And for him, is from this international scene. Yeah. So he grabbed all my photos and applied unknowingly. Yes, because he knew I couldn't understand that. So he applied after. He told me, Kasozi, you have a passport? I said, yes. Then he chilled it. He told me, yeah, next month, you coming here. I couldn't believe that, of course. Yes, I know he was just encouraging me to work hard because I couldn't know that I deserve that, or I can be part of that. Because I was even the first African to be to Vancouver Fashion Week. And Ugandan, you get coming from the ghettos. I was working from this corner. You get like a smaller place paying 50K a month. You get so. That wasn't my platform. So when it reached to 2 weeks after working on all the papers, they told me, you go to Canadian consulate and ask for visa fee. There, I got that I think it was a month before, I started to panic that it was serious. And with that month, I had to spend 2 months from Kenya processing the visa. In our mindset, too many visa tebazigabaye, and with art you work with motivation. So every time I could try to get a piece of paper to sketch, I could get nervous, think of a visa, I failed. Till after the 2 weeks, I got my visa and I started sketching. I remember I did my sketches even from the bus as I was coming back from Kenya. When I reached home, I started sleepless nights, you get. I made my collection in two weeks. That was 48 pieces.
Yeah.
One person.
Wow.
And a miracle happened to me. I had to fly 3 days before the fashion show. Yeah. And I planned to finish on that exact day. So accidentally, I didn't know, I left here the same date. I spent 18 hours on the way, and I reached the same hours I left here.
Yeah.
You get, so
yes.
I advanced
like 24 hours.
Yes.
Yes.
So I got that extra day.
Yeah.
Yeah. To finish my stuff.
Okay.
But that changed my mind so much because I reached to Vancouver, and they always go through your work. If it doesn't reach that standard, you don't showcase.
Yeah.
I was on a big panic. But models showed me that I've passed that. Models were grabbing, fighting for my pieces. I never even wait for
from
the
local
director.
stage in Uganda here.
Yes.
Yes. To now, model fighting for you, and this was your
Yes.
biggest stage. How many stages have you been in Uganda before this opportunity to go to Vancouver by
then I think I'd done two. I'd showcased to Silk and Bayimba.
Yeah. So
yes.
first was Bayimba and then Silk.
Yes.
Yes.
Then my third was international.
Wow.
Yeah. And on that show, I tend to be among the top 3 designers.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was showcasing with Michael Kors, you know.
Yeah.
So
yes, yes.
after that, people loved my collection so much.
Yeah.
And I got another opportunity to showcase my collection again.
Yeah.
I remember they were launching some electric car.
Yeah.
Yes, they had produced. So I was their entertainer. So I loved the tour so much, and it changed my mindset because the love I got there, I never had it here. You get? So I was like, why my home people convincing me?
Yeah.
You get? So I came back very tough with another mindset.
Yes.
You get? Fighting for myself.
Yeah. I want to know from you, this is a very compelling story. If you're following the show, it's a creative industry talk right here on House of Talent Television. My name is Edio Killer, and Kasozi is in the studio, or Kasozi Charles, who is Ras Kasozi, is on the program, and of course we're talking about his journey to the national, from the national here, from the local stages in Uganda to the international platform in Vancouver, Canada, and that's a very fascinating story right there. Again, earlier on you talked about we need to surround ourselves with people who will inspire us. I want you to take us back. You are now in Canada. You have been, loved, and you came back with a different mindset altogether. Did you earn money, or money wasn't a biggest motivator at that point?
For them, it's automatic. It's the system. It's not about me.
Yes.
It's about the system.
Yes.
It's like however much you want to travel to Uganda without paying. The system is, they need your ticket in a bus, you get.
Yes.
So for them, they know the system, that fashion is a business.
Yes.
After showcase, for example, what happened to me after showcase, I thought, as usual in Uganda, after showcase, you pack your stuff in a suitcase, you go home.
Yes.
But for them, after showcasing, they had to announce my pop-up shop.
Yes.
Yeah, they got a big shop. I got a day. They put everything they had aside and display my stuff.
Yes.
So people came and purchased everything. And I love the way they did it. They were asking me, like I had a manager that time.
Yes.
She was called Christine.
Yeah.
She asked me how much this jacket, and then she had to teach me, now, in Canada, you can't sell something from the runway, $300. That's very cheap.
Yes.
Yeah, like expenses are here high, and also the platform, you get.
Yeah.
So she helped me to price.
Know the pricing.
Yes.
Yeah.
She did that, so I gave her the authority to do everything for me. And people were even booking before. They were testing us.
Yes.
I'm coming for this jacket. I'm coming for this skirt.
Yes.
You get. So it was really, really nice, and I sold everything. You know, when you're flying, you always have your shopping list.
Yes, yes.
Had my budget here, sewing machine, camera, you get. I got everything I wanted.
Yes. And so you came back from one chance given to you by the one and only philosopher. We called him the hip hop philosopher, Baba Luko. You came back with this money back to Uganda, and you had everything you needed. Kasozi, let's talk about how did you meet Baba Luko, by the way?
As a youth, I never had friends, like basically when I was growing, like, you know, our mom used to try to tell us, like, as we poor and it's okay. In this world, there are those rich people and then poor people.
Yes.
You get, so for us, we are born that way.
Yes.
And we shouldn't be struggling for
things that are for rich people.
You get.
Yes.
So I was very satisfied with my life. And I used to spend a lot of my time from home, within the house. Yes, doing the art, drawing, working with a machine. But accidentally, I went to Laba. No, there was a festival at Kololo. I don't remember the name. WAP used to be called WAP.
Yes, WAP, yes. WAP by the British Council, yes.
And I met these creative people, kids. Baba Luko had those kids rapping, painters, you get. And I said, I need to be part of this. So I met the team leader. Team leader told me, come to Machinje. What was there? So I went to Machinje. I met him. I think I used to go there every week. I went there for a month. And I was just doing nothing. Kids were rapping. Painters were doing painting. Me, I didn't know that I have even a talent. Till I said, I think this was going to chase me away. Every time I come, I just sit here. One day, I said, I think let me try to make a jacket. I didn't know that's even important or what. I started to make I went to a window. I got a very cheap jacket and stitched his face here. Like I have the ability to do portraits using a sewing machine. When I reached to the...
You stitched Baba Luko's face?
On a jacket I'd made. Everyone was very happy and amazed about what I did. So that's how I got also...
From the background of being there, just waiting.
I didn't know that...
Yes.
I know how to do repairs and making some small things, but didn't know that it was nice or what. So, you know, as a creative person, Baba Luko, so he will come to me, now, you know, I've done this, you can do this, and everyone was coming, other youth. That's how even I got even my brand name from there. So we used to have someone doing graphics came and say, Kasozi, now, you can swear, and let me make for you a logo, you get, and I got a brand name. Rappers used to come and tell me, you got to make for me shorts and stuff, you get. So I got the love and to know that, yes, fashion is good, and now let me settle to this.
Wow. Well, if you're following the Creative Industry Talk anywhere across the world, Ed Yokila, Ras Kasozi here. We're talking about Ugandan fashion to the international fashion stage. What a story right there coming from Ras Kasozi. Charles Kasozi is his real name, as a Ugandan born, a Muganda by tribe, from the central part of Uganda. Your story is very fascinating, Kasozi. I'm enjoying the show with you today, and this is a very interesting creative industry talk. I want to just encourage everyone out there, go on there and share the story of Ras Kasozi far and wide, and make sure that there is so much love coming to this brother, and go and buy. And of course, I want to give a big shout out to my brother from another mother, Baba Luko. This is like the coolest story I've heard from Baba today of changing the life of Mr. Ras Kasozi. Rasta, let's talk about this, learning from the international. You are now in Vancouver. You have learned something. Did you learn something from there? What did you pick from Vancouver when you came back to Uganda? You were able to say, you know what? I've learned this. I want to do A, B, C, D. And so my question to you is, did you learn from the international fashion stages? And what were the challenges that when you came back, you were able to fix?
Basically, I was different. I think by the time I came back, my name was everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. So by the time I landed here, I had to to do so many interviews, and I never had experience into that. Yes. So my life started to change a bit, and I don't like the celebrity life. You get my life.
Because you were told you were poor, you should stay this side. Yeah, now you are being
yeah, you have to dress this, do this, yes. And it's not my thing. You get. Yeah. So I love to keep a low profile, but I got to know the value of fashion, yeah. Because they took me around so many shops, yeah. And so many designers, international designers, everything was different. Yeah. So I was like, why at home they're not doing this? Yes. So what came into my mind was to focus much on the international platform, because I'm loved there more, yes. And I have a lot of clients outside Uganda than
you are in Uganda.
Yes. So,
wow.
So to me, I'm so much into developing youth's talent in Uganda and getting money from outside. Yes. So I learned that in Uganda, maybe fashion is still starting, it's still young. Yes. The way we take fashion is not the way it's taken outside there. It's a big business, and here it's about talent. You get? Yeah, the same thing I've told you about fashion shows here. Fashion shows are about entertaining. Yes. You like perform. Yes. But see, outside there, every year, brands come up with trend and they have to launch them. Yes. After launching them, they sell the copies.
Yes, and that becomes what we wear as fashion
exactly.
In the world, all across the world.
Yeah.
I mean, Kasozi, that's a very interesting learning. You know, did you face any challenges along the way?
I was super excited. I think I was young, yeah. And people loved me so much. So I was just saving, yes. learning everything. Yes. Yeah, just I remember, I used to tell them, like they used to make joke out of me. I never wanted to drink water. Like they know for them water is life. Yeah. And with me, I used to know I take water because I'm poor. Yeah. Now I'm in Canada, I don't take water. I totally refuse to take water. And they were making fun of me.
Wow, yeah. Wow.
But the biggest challenge was, how do you leave Canada and come back to Uganda? You get? Whereby now you have learned, and what you have learned doesn't work back home. You get? Yeah. So it's two ways. You leave it, or you challenge yourself. Yeah. You get? Yeah. So, you know, now we're having the internet. Yeah, so I live here, but try to make sure I'm connected to the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Kasozi, first of all, for that moment. And thank you very much, everybody who's watching the show from all across the world. Thank you for being part of the Creative Industry Talk, growing bigger and better. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, Kasozi will tell us a little bit more about, you know, the new program he's doing called the Seed Program, which video we're actually going to play right now. And of course, you know, what are the advice that he can give to the young people who have not been able to, you know, get opportunity like him, or who are looking for such opportunity like, you know, Baba Luko gave to Kasozi to go across the world. But also, we would want to know from him, which other stages has he been to since, you know, the Vancouver, you know, experience and the collaboration that have been happening. Stay right there. Creative Industry Talk. We'll be right back after this break.
I joined Seed Show to gain exposure, to become international. I feel through this, I'm going to be normal. Cause you're a sky full of stars.
I'm gonna give you my heart. 'Cause you're a sky full of stars. 'Cause you light up the path. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do.
itaranto ndamuha ebyiri undamuhitara ntimwe itagirira kabiri maze umutwara arazinduka maze babagaragu batangira gukoresha za carano nk'uko shebuja yazibasigiye uwahawe shana aragenda arazigenza agenzura amesha hano uwahawe ebyiri nawe abigenza atyo agenzuramo ebyiri maze wa wundi wahawe imwe aragenda acukura icobo ayishamo ya tarano aratinyuka arayitabaye nuko iminsi irahitindi irataha maze shebuja mu kuzindukuruka abarana nabo ibyo yabasigiye uwahawe shana araseruka ati databuja mwiza wansigiye shanu uzungutse izindi shanu uwahawe ebyiri nawe araseruka ati databuja mwiza wansigiye ebyiri zungutse izindi ebyiri shebuja ati bagaragu banje beza nuko kuko mwakiranutse muri bike nico gitumye mbegurira byinshi ico nimuze mwinjire mu munezero wa shobuja maze wa wundi wahawe itara ntimwe itagiriye kabiri adatera hejuru azayivovota cane ati databuja narinzi kuri umunyamwaga usarura utabibye na munagane itarano narayitavye mu butaka dore ngiyo ufata ibyawe maze shebuja aramusubiza ati mbe mugaragu mubi niko wamunyabutewe esi ni wari ukwiye kuyiha abagenza maze nkasangaho inyungu yayo nuko shebuja arayimwambura ayigabira wa wundi wungutse itara n'icumi igiye mu zindi agira 11 kuko ufite wese azongererwa ariko udafite azanyagwa n'utwo yari afite maze wa mugaragu mubi baramuboha bamujugunya mu mwijima hanze azize ubupfapfa mbega agahinda we itaranto yawe yikoreshe neza igira umumaro mu gihe gikwiye itaranto yawe yikoreshe neza igira umumaro mu gihe gikwiye mbese gufasha abakene gusura abarwayi ibikorwa by'urukundo gushigikirana imirimo myiza igihe twahawe aya mafaranga nizo taranto twasigiwe ngo zigire umumaro igihe tukiriho itaranto yawe iyikoreshe neza igira umumaro mu gihe gikwiye itaranto yawe iyikoreshe neza igira umumaro mu gihe gikwiye
I want you to share with us, from your experiences, you've been going quite a lot, traveling around the world and seeing these things in different, countries. What would you share with us today that we can pick from your experiences where you've been going, that we can do down here at home and make it better in Africa, and which Abdul can pick, lessons from to go back and continue to impact the lives of people in these communities? Yes.
Yeah, I think when as we said at the beginning, like we are, as a community of citizens, we always like to be inspired. And graffiti normally is about inspiration. You might say piece of mask, a piece of but for example, for me, when I see most of the graffiti work, much of this work is conceptual, it's abstract. People don't understand it. But if we could start from the area where people understand, like for some of our icons, just imagine in Kawempe you have a beautiful graffiti wall of Geoffrey Riema, of Philip Bongole Utaya, of Paul Cafero, of Fred Sebata. All these, like Peterson.
I think he has one already there of
Peterson. But then, of course, great piece. Great piece. But then
it's a recent thing. We need something.
So we're looking at like how can we also start presenting work that is going to inspire our people, people that people need to remember. Like Peterson Mutebi, like Mistusela Segamwenge, all these people, the Byron Kawadwas. There are so many Ugandans that are very, very people are attached to. Just for example, like if GNL is emotionally attached to his graffiti wall mural, and then what is he going to do? He'll push it. He'll push his wall. So if Cliff Mutebi comes and sees his father's mural of Peterson Mutebi on the wall, he'll push it because he finds it that inspiration. And that's meaning that you're growing your community. You're not just skilling them with hands-on, but you're also empowering them to feel proud of who they are and who are their parents or their ancestors are. So I think we need to start looking at how do we celebrate our own? How do we celebrate? I like the Rwandan piece. And I know, because when he was explaining the love of the city, I know there has been conflict and tension between Rwanda and Uganda. It speaks volumes, but at the same time, it is detaching from the Ugandans. They're like, how do we cultivate our own people to appreciate their own history? When you look at bigger cities, they always find those people that are very related or connecting to them. The conceptualization is also about, because there's someone saying that, no, I need to speak my mind, but you also need to connect to the community.
Thank you.
How does the community relate to this kind of work? This mural, which is at Alliancia, was done by a German team. But you find the way they were trying to create, in its abstract, they also try to bring in the Ugandan aspect of it by having the crane as part of the concept. So how do we connect our work to cultivate the love and the appreciation of our own communities, and also try to grow, make it as much better and much, sophisticated in a way that it shows the maturity of your work, So for me, this is what I'd like to say, that scaling is not only about giving people hands-on skills, but it's also cultivating their minds, inspiring them, making sure that you are exposing them, you're kind of challenging them to think differently, to attract a different mindset.
mbakomboze igitaramo cy'iwacu. Iwacu turatarama ngwino urare. Iwacu turatarama ngwino urare. Iyo dukoze ku nyamirya iz'ubuhuha n'inkomangano biratwizihira cyane. Mpamagare muhigirwa ni Nyaruguru mu muhamirizo w'intore, mu muhamirizo w'intore. Sebaganji babukwege aseruke mu byivugo byiza. Mpamagare Sebatunzi ayihere mu miyuki akubwira intahana batatu ya ruta mu kinyange cyarutiruka mu bakemba, mu bakemba. Tugutaramiye kandi uzagaruka. Iwacu turatarama ngwino urare. Tugutaramiye kandi uzagaruka. Turatarama ngwino urare. Tugutaramiye kandi uzagaruka.
Epana biso tolinga kobina. Epana biso tolinga kosepela ka elongo. Tolinga tosepela tosangisa pe tolingana.
Tugusogongeze ku ntango y'amahoro. Nkwibutsa umugani wa Nyashya na Baba, inkuru ya Saruhara rwa Nkomokomo, Cyacana ndetse na Ngunda. Tugutaramiye kandi uzagaruka. Iwacu turatarama ngwino urare. Aho dutaramiye nta rungu. Tugutaramiye kandi uzagaruka. Turatarama ngwino urare.
Tolingana nisokaka kosepela.
Tugutaramiye kandi uzagaruka. Turatarama ijoro tukarita hanze. Cyambere wampaye inka cyuringanje cyuringanje. Reka ntugatsikire. Cyuringanje cyuringanje cyuringanje. Nuko umuco wacu ntugacindishe.
Apprends les Français, venez à l'Alliance française. Venez, apprends les Français, venez à l'Alliance française.
Des profs, des Français, oh, oh, oh. C'est l'Alliance française. La maison des profs, des Français,
c'est l'Alliance française.
Une fille m'a posé une question, pourquoi apprendre le français alors que je lui parlais de la radio bonjour Kampala, oh. Venez,
apprendre les Français.
Je vous invite à venir.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Viens mon frère, viens ma soeur, à l'Alliance française.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Venez,
apprendre les Français. Venez à l'Alliance française. Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
Je vous invite à venir.
Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
La plus largement appris après l'anglais. Les Français disent langue étrangère, la plus largement appris
après l'anglais.
La connaissance du français ouvre des portes, des entreprises en France
comme à l'étranger.
La connaissance du français ouvre des portes, des entreprises en France
comme à l'étranger.
Le français, la langue de la culture,
la langue internationale pour la cuisine,
la mode, les théâtres, les habitués, la danse et l'architecture. Le français, la langue de la culture, la langue internationale pour la cuisine, la mode, les théâtres, les habitués,
la danse et l'architecture.
Oh,
I love French. Oh, I speak French. Oh, I love French. Oh, I speak French.
I love French.
Oh,
I love
French.
I speak French.
Oh,
I speak
French.
I love French.
Oh,
I love French.
I love French.
I speak French.
Oh,
I speak
I
French.
speak French.
Oh,
I love French.
oh,
I speak French. Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française. Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
venez à Kamocha,
Venez apprendre le français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
Venez dans la grande famille. Venez
apprendre le français.
Venez mes amis.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Molière, Céline Dion, Mbappé. En passant par Ayana Kampala. Pourquoi tu penses que les Français tirent là international?
Que tu sois fondé le tour du four du plaisir. Dis-moi le monde en Uganda est là, en pleine évolution.
Venez,
apprendre les Français.
Mes amis, venez.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
La langue française, la langue de paix, la langue de la courtoisie.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
La langue française, la langue de la courtoisie, la langue de paix.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Venez dans la grande famille. Venez à l'Alliance française. Venez apprendre le français.
À l'Alliance française.
Je vous invite à venir. Venez mes amis. Venez, venez.
À l'Alliance française.
Parlez français.
Parlez français.
Parlez français.
Parlez français.
Everybody parlez français.
Parlez français.
Everybody bina moke. Bina moke. Bina moke.
Bina moke.
Everybody bina moke.
Bina moke.
Bina à gauche.
Bina à gauche.
Bina à droite.
Bina à droite.
Bina devant.
Bina devant.
Bina derrière.
Bina derrière.
Bina devant.
Bina devant.
Parlez français.
Parlez français.
Parlez français.
Parlez français.
Parlez français. Venez, venez.
Venez à parler français. Venez à l'Alliance française.
Je vous invite à venir. Venez à parler français. À Kamochao.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
À Bukoto Street.
Venez à parler français.
Venez, venez, venez.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
Si tu veux parler français, viens à l'Alliance.
Parler français.
Si tu veux parler,
venez à l'Alliance française.
Si tu veux entrer dans la famille, viens,
parler français.
Viens, viens, viens.
Venez à l'Alliance française.
At the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
me, I keep saying I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
You see, I think there's been a lot of growth and transformation. I appreciate the work national IT authorities doing, and also, of course, they come up with policies that people are supposed to comply with. You know, when it comes to IT, with cybersecurity, like I said, we have a layer of compliance and governance, whereby government will come up with policies and say, okay, we need you, each and every person should have at least a basic thing, which is antivirus on their devices. Because at the national level, they have what we call cyber threat intelligence, whereby I think UCC has a solution. Because I remember I was involved in that tender for procurement of a cyber threat intelligence solution, whereby we could be able to identify this is a new attack, it's coming from Russia, it's attacking our bank here, then they could be able to block that traffic at a national level. Well, the government is doing something. But then also, as individuals, like I said, we need to also be vigilant. Because the government will not be able to understand which new VPN client has come up, or which new VPN solution has come up, probably because they will not know. But for you, go ahead and download it and install it on your device. And then you trust transacting. You actually go to, then you say, oh, I was stolen money from my account. Oh, my information was stolen. Oh, I see nodes on social media. People steal nodes from people's devices and actually they ask for a pay. Someone says, if you don't give me $100,000, I'm going to publish your nonsense on the cyberspace. You know? So people need to be vigilant. But of course, the government is also doing something.
that's when I started learning that, this is how coffee is. But why is it that we produce coffee here and just sell it when we don't take it here, we don't consume it here? So one time when I had just started my training here, I went back to Uganda. And then I went to a hotel, a very established hotel. I will not mention its name. Then I wanted to see if I have people that know about coffee in hotels, because I knew maybe probably big hotels serve coffee. So to my dismay is that I introduced myself as a barista, and everybody was like, "What's a barista?" So I said, a barista is a specialist that makes coffee, a person who makes coffee for people to, coffee like, cappuccino, different kinds of, coffees, and people were like very green. I said, this is a big hotel. I expected to find here a coffee machine, and nobody knows about it. So it's, I think, incumbent of us to really transform this entire community, the entire country, to coffee, to learn about coffee, and also to give them the advantages of coffee, teach them about coffee, and then later on they maybe consume it, rather than just selling it.
I come from the Pearl of Africa. It's a beautiful country with beautiful nature. To me, it really inspires me and motivates me. And actually, in one of my tags on my clothing, especially on my jeans, you see those lines that appear on the back pockets of the jeans. When I was doing my internship in Paris, I happened to go to a fashion museum where I read a few books, about fashion designers and their names and about their creations and things like that. There are signs on jeans like the Wrangler, the Lee jeans. All those jeans have signs on the pockets. And before I went to Paris, I was doing that already because I was drawing my inspiration. I used to love geography. And the Ugandan, East African geography was really very interesting to me. Knowing that I come from the Great Lakes, East African Rift Valley, that's why you see those lines on my jeans. I brought two theories, because they are just theories about the creation of the Great East African Rift Valley. So I put those. So it's the nature and the music that really inspires me and motivates me.
Wow.
It's a CEO bench, so usually people want to assume that all CEOs are overlearned and stuff like that. So I will change the script this time round. I consider myself a certified hustler.
If I'm looking to know who you are you Ugandan? If yes, what are the values that define you as Ugandan?
That's the easiest question, I think, to answer. I am a typical Lao man from Erute North, in a place called Ogur, and where I will be laid to rest is in a village called Agweng. So if you go there and you just say Otoa Tony, they won't really know me because my father is also Otoa Tony. You have to ask for Junior, and when you're asking, you have to ask with an accent. Junior Tikwene, where is Junior? And they will identify me. But I'm typically Ugandan, only Ugandan, from Lira. I pride myself from being from Lira. Earlier on, I was joking and saying I'm the coolest Lago south of Karuma. When you cross Karuma, there are so many. But when you're down the south after Karuma, I think I'm number one.
Wow. Well, now that you know Tony Otoa is Ugandan, and of course, what are the values that define you as a Ugandan?
I think it's the love for country, love for nation. You know, truth be told, the country is in a lot of, it's a crisis. Leadership crisis, economic crisis, social crisis. There's so many mismatching areas. But at the end of the day, it's home. You know, you cannot run and abandon your home because of the issues in your home. I think that then creates an opportunity for you to do something to change what's happening and what you see as a crisis. So in terms of what I see as a value, or what I take out of that for me, I think is just the love for country, the need to serve country the best way I can. And I mean, I can't say I can change everything, but the little I can do to create a difference, I think is more meaningful.
Wow. Mr. Tony Otoa, growing up, what did you want to be in life? And what was the journey like for Mr. Otoa?
Yeah, you know, my father is crazy. My father would call us and he would show me the compass. The idea was supposed to be a pilot. You know, the planes would fly over our house and my father would be like, yeah, you're going to be a pilot. But of course, as you grow, you realize that you have so many things that really define you. I was never a sportsman. So I enjoyed a lot of debate and, you know, a lot of indoor activities. And that is, I think, what really drove me into some of the things that I do up to today. Public speaking, the love for debates and really a lot of intellectual discourse and all this stuff. But besides that, I think it's also the fact that I won't lie. I did not know what I wanted to be.
So that committee is doing a good job. Of course, we have challenges. Our biggest challenge is finances. We need to go out there, look for money, come and run the league. Currently, we are self-sponsored. The teams just contribute money.
How much money does each team contribute in terms of, let's say, registration fees?
Every year come up with a budget. Every season come up with a budget. We sit the managers down. This is our budget. We need to approve it. So they approve the team. We say how much money each team can pay. Division 1, they're paying 1.2 million. Then Division 2 are paying 1.1 million. Then the girls are paying, I think, 1.5 million shillings each team. So
the girls are paying 1.5.
Yeah. So that money is meant to run the league. Yeah, officiation, venues, all the things. Yeah, that I'm telling you, self-sponsored. And we are unable to play home and away because this league is fun. That's why it makes it fun. Those days we used to have home and away. Home and away. But now,
so now it's one game.
It's one game, round robin. So the best 8, I mean, go for pro playoffs. But lower league is the most unpredictable league in Uganda.
I've watched so many lower league games, and I would like to actually confess, even right now on air, that most lower league games are more interesting than even NBL games.
Though of course NBL is our elite league, but and there's also some data cream that side. But when it comes to competition, you gotta know that number 8 at the end of the season will make it to the finals.
But then you get surprised and you find
absolutely. The season Falcons got relegated in I think 2017, and they came down. They were number 7, but later on managed to be a finalist. That's how competitive it is, and that's what brings the vibe in the lower league. The fan base is very, very big, but as I've told you, the challenge is just finances. The moment you have money, some people come and support the league. I mean, we should have those things happening. 2 home and away games, you know, accolades be given away, and then it create a more vibe in the players.
it. I'm still learning. I don't think I'm ready to be a CEO yet.
Yes.
Well, so for me, I could say bring the perspective of someone who has gone through the challenges.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been on the side of someone that needs to get their documents.
Yeah.
And I've also been on the verification end.
Yeah.
So I really understand the pain points from a personal perspective. And I think for me, that's what drives me.
Yeah.
Because I know that challenge.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
And that basically drives me to push, drives me to better explain, what the product does. Because sometimes, even when you get into spaces, people just think, oh, you've just got this product, you don't understand what it does, you don't really understand the challenges. But as someone who understands the challenges, I'm able to better explain what the product brings on the table from a personal perspective. So I think that's been a success. And the fact that we have managed to get partners here is a huge, huge success. It's a huge success. When something is new, it's very difficult for people to hop onto it. And if people get onto it, sometimes it's usually for the wrong reasons. But when you actually find people that that believe in it, that want to work with you to keep improving it, that want to work with you to keep having that feedback to improve the product, it is a big, big plus. It's a big, big plus because you could build a product, put so much time and money into it, and it's not used by anyone.
Wow. Which we have seen before.
It's a reality.
Yeah.
But the fact that, our product is out there and it is changing lives, because for us, that's the end goal. Yes, money is important in business, but we also want to change lives. We also want to meet challenges, and that is also our end goal. And seeing our product out there and doing what it's supposed to do is my oh my.
Wow.
It's a success.
Wow.
You have to know each equipment. You have to know the brew ratio. Actually, the brew ratio is
very important.
The most important. Brew ratio now most people may not understand. It is the ratio of the coffee powder to water, and the yield. Water in this article will bring us into the yield. If I put 10 grams of coffee into my portafilter, how much of it am I exactly? So if you don't master the brew ratio, oh, everything is going to turn out a mess. You understand? Even if you know that knowledge and you don't master the brew ratio.
It is a creative industry talk. My name is Eddie Okela and this is House of Talent Television. Welcome to the program. This week on the program, we bring you the story of those who are doing it in Uganda. And of course, we are always talking about local content development by Uganda, build Uganda. Do we really understand what this means? Do we know what local content development means? Everyone is talking about it. And today on the program, we decided to focus mainly on the woodwork in Uganda. The creative industry talk is talking about, furniture building in Uganda. Do you buy Ugandan furniture? Do you have a Ugandan furniture in your building? Or are you all the way flying to China and to all these other places to have furniture from there? Yet you have people who are doing this woodwork in Uganda. On the program today, we focused their story and of course the interview to the young men who I found around the streets of Kampala. One day I was driving and I was looking for Ugandan furniture, and so I used to drive on the same road over and over, and I see this place and there's just a couple of young people just doing their stuff, you know, crazy ideas and, you know, things put around the place, and I decided to give them a visit. It started raining, so I stood there for a couple of hours watching and seeing what was going on while I wait for a table to come to my office. And indeed, they made a table. So what I was looking for was, do they really understand what they're doing? Do they understand the art, you know, behind the creativity that they're actually, you know, involved in? And along the way, I realized that they just simply need, you know, somebody to believe in them. So we decided to bring them onto the program today so that we can enjoy the creative minds and the creative people of Uganda in the woodwork in Uganda, in the furniture business in Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, all across the world, welcome you all to the Creative Industry Talk. And of course, my guest today is a man from the eastern part of Uganda. David Anderson Onyango was one of the people leading that particular business, you know, on that particular street in Kampala, Uganda, to the furniture business and supply in Kampala. David, welcome to the program. How are you doing? Here we spread the love. When you do this, you must spread the love. So you have to spread the love, yes. Welcome to the program, and I'm going to take off my glasses so that the creativity can start. First of all, we want to start from a very lighter note. Who is David Onyango?
Well, I am David Onyango Anderson. As you said, from the east, but born and raised of Kampala.
Okay.
I've roamed the streets of Kampala. I've seen my childhood through Kampala, my best and worst. And I am now a woodworker, a law student, and a mental health worker, all in one person.
Yes. So when you say you're not a woodworker and a mental health worker, but first we want to take you growing up. Who was David growing up? What did you want to be in life? What were you looking for in life growing up?
Well, growing up, I went to school in Chitante, right here. I was a very argumentative person. So I think law was always the option for me. But I was interested in art as an option, as a main part of my life. I was interested in creating beautiful things because I saw beauty in the things I saw most of the times. So I think that explains my choices in both law, which is something I'm passionate about, and woodworking, which gives me the chance to create art physically and see it.
Okay. So we want to just, you know, get straight to this interview and just try to sort of like know you from a certain, you know, angle and with a certain lens. When you were growing up, did you ever make those wired cars, things we used to use when we were learning how to drive, making those things, you know, were you that creative when you were growing up?
I was, actually.
What is the memorable thing that you think you created when you're growing up that when you look back today, you can say it all started from here?
I think it was around 2002. I created my first tipper with actually the ability to tip its content. All in the streets of Mulago, and it had lights, it had the tipping part.
Yes.
I refused to sell it off. I would sell a lot of items, but I kept that one for myself because
wow.
I think it was the beginning of it.
Yes. Now, talking of that, did your father or your mother ever see you as a creative person?
Well, I grew up with my mother for most of the time, and as you know, life in Kampala, you don't really get time to be with your parents a lot of the times because they're always pulling ends together. But I think, I don't know if she saw it, but she gave us the freedom to explore.
Yeah.
She did not control us a lot.
Okay.
She controlled our behaviors, but she gave us the freedom to do our own things that were within her rating of moral and fine. So we had that chance. We could do this, as you said, small wire cars and sell them off and she would let us use our money for our things. And I think that pushed us forward to know that, well, if you create something good, then you can get money from it. And I think the greatest motivation is always money at the end of the day.
You speak with the word plural, which means us. Who are we? Us referring to who? How many are you in the family, and are you the firstborn or the lastborn?
I am the second lastborn. Yeah. We are in a family of 4 children. Yeah, I have a bigger brother, I think, who comes up more in the plural form. I have a sister who is a graphic designer. Still, I think art is in the family in a way.
Yes.
And my big brother was the inspiration into woodwork at the main part, because there's a bigger age gap, so he went into the business before me, and he pulled me into it. But even in the start, I mean, he inspired me a lot.
Okay. I'm talking of that, we are talking to David Onyango here. We're talking about woodwork. This entire interview today on the Creative Industry Talk, we're talking about furniture in Kampala, furniture in Uganda, furniture in Africa. Do Africans buy their own furniture? Do we buy things made from our own people? Do we sit in things made by our own people? Today's topic is looking at the local content development, focusing on Ugandan made furniture. And of course, we have David Anderson Onyango from he's the business development director at, formerly it's called Arc Furniture, but now it's called Chronicle Furniture. I learned this morning. Oracle Furniture, I learned this morning. And it's a new business. They are situated on Bukoto Kisasi Road. And these guys do amazing stuff. So we brought them on the show today so that you can actually understand that there are some simple Ugandans creating local content that are good for our businesses. David, we want to go back to this interview and start this interview from a very interesting point. So let's talk about woodwork. Furniture, Ugandan made furniture. What is your definition of a Ugandan made furniture?
Well, my definition of Ugandan made furniture has expanded a bit the deeper I went into the industry. Initially, Ugandan made furniture was woodwork. It had to be woodwork. But the creative minds that we are, Ugandans, we've expanded. We've expanded into the medium density fiber boards, that is MDF ordinarily. We've expanded into reclaimed wood furniture, where we have the pallet furniture. So it has really grown. But to me, the definition would be that it's a piece made by a Ugandan in Uganda, and with our own creativity here, because we have a different scope of creativity from everyone else.
All right, very good. And what is your understanding of Buy Uganda, Build Uganda? We are always talking about Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. What is your understanding of Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, Bobo?
Well, Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, I think this is what employs us as Ugandans to come back to develop and support our own pieces of furniture here, our own items here, made by our creativity and our materials. And it pulls us back to understand that we are going to receive furniture that has been made based on our ability as Ugandans, but feel proud of it because it is made here by our own and from our own materials.
Talking of that, David, most times we think that, when we're looking to buy a bed, I go to Nina Interiors of this world, I go to big time furniture shops to get a bed. But also there are these guys on the roadside for low cost housing conditions, furniture where people usually just go to, buy their bed for that area. But we tend to think about validation and the point of buying furniture from the sense that I want imported furniture. That is when I feel that I have spent my money right. Having started this business, what motivated you to move towards it, and why? Why yet the odds against you are quite too straight that I will go to Mina Interior to buy furniture from, or I will go to slightly moderate place to buy furniture from there because I want to, there's this notion that a Ugandan made furniture is not good.
Well, my main motivation was and still is the fact that when I look at the furniture from the what you call the high class sell places, I don't see any difference. They actually work a lot on budget. So our local furniture, our local carpenters here do produce items, let's say a bed, using the same materials, the same quantity of wood and even more, and waste it. But because they demand so less from themselves, they keep it at a given rate of quality. They didn't seek to compete with they had actually quoted themselves as the lower end and gotten satisfied with that.
All right, you guys are coming in to sort of like redefine the thinking that has always been there of we can make the Ugandan wood look good, and a person can be more prouder to buy from Uganda and even custom make something to their taste. How has that journey been like, and how are Ugandans responding to that creativity?
Initially, it was hard, really hard, because most of these people, when they get their money, they want to go and buy this piece. I mean, buy it, take it home, and then they're done with that purchase. And sometimes, due to less capital, the manpower, you need the time to actually create this. So first of all, you demand something which is very rare from someone, and that is, first of all, trust and time. And these are very valuable at the same time. So it's really been a challenging journey, trying to get people to trust you and then give you the time.
Okay, so having gotten people to trust you and get to this level, let's talk about your first customer when you started. The very first day you guys walked out to start something. What did you create for a customer? Did you create for yourself? How did you start?
Initially, we actually worked from our own home. So we depended on our own contacts. We began with friends. First with family, then friends. Then my own realization was that the recommendations are better at the end of the day. So we began getting the recommendations. Until, well, it became a bit hard to invite someone to your home to show them furniture. So you had to now think of a location.
Yeah.
And that is how the journey started. And the trust came from people who knew us, because they knew we had something to lose more than money itself.
Yeah.
And then the other strangers that trusted us because they trusted someone else.
Yes.
Until we've reached at an extent where we are able to at least now attract trust without a middle person and without prior knowledge of the person.
Okay. David, just before we go for a break, would you quantify and qualify that as being, that very last part of it says, as being, attributed to the fact that when you did something, the person you made for felt happy and felt like, I can recommend these people? Or how did you get to that point of building trust? Because trust is the foundation of business. Globally, economy is built on trust. I trust you, I give you business. I trust that you take my creative thinking and turn it into a reality, and you give me this furniture that when I sit in, if it's a chair, I feel good. If it's a table, I feel nice to sit and take my cup of coffee or eat food. If it is bed, when I go to sleep, I feel comfortable that this is something I thought about how I wanted the bed to be like, and I went to David with my creativity, and he turned around my creativity into a reality.
Well, definitely, it is because we've been able to pay back these people's consideration, the customers' consideration, exactly the way they give it back. Take for example, most of the times, first of all, when someone trusts you and then they give you the time, so one thing they don't want is an excuse, so you keep it out of the equation. And then there's also the ability to own up to a mistake, because you can't eradicate them. But every time you own up to a mistake, it gives you the relationship between the customer and the maker and the seller sort of a new fresh page to begin from, because it is not something everyone does.
Okay. We're talking to David Anderson Onyango from the Oracle Furniture, Limited, straight out of Kampala from the Bukoto, Kisasi Road, and these guys do amazing stuff. You need to check them out. They're on the Creative Industry Talk. We are going to take a break, and when we come back, the interview with David will continue while we dive into the whole point of creativity. What is creativity by his understanding, and does what he does every single day represent the whole heart of creativity? You know, furniture, Ugandan made furniture. Do you have a furniture in your house, by the way? If you don't have one, perhaps you need to consider this, guys. All of us dream big, but you must have somebody who can bring your dream into a reality. Stay right there. I'll be right back after the break. This is the Creative Industry Talk.
If you create a space which